Hi, Megan.
Anybody, should we wait or go?
Hi,
I think this is
Most of them?
yeah.
Hi. Thanks for being here. Do you guys know who we are, or does anybody know Snake House? I know you do. Yeah. I'm Dr. Mays. I'm a 2009 graduate here, so an alumni, and met Dr. Finch when I first came over and begged her to adopt me, and worked in the ward with her, and she still can't get rid of it, 15 years later. We're good friends, so she's one of our directors also. My husband, Mirko, is one of the other directors, and we have a couple of other volunteers too. So, we are here to talk to you guys about giants. This is so weird. Specifically giants. We have a lot of other snakes, and there's so much that you can go over with snakes. We had to kind of pick and choose, but the giants are something that not a lot of people can do or know about or offer experience for, so that's why we focus on that. You guys have any questions before I get started? About who we are or what we do? Hey! No talking in the background. Bad example. Actually, you guys can ask questions and interact like super normal. No worries, I'm teasing. We'll sort it. So these are the topics that we picked. So who's who, basically who we are, and then which snakes you're going to come across mostly. So I tried to pick information that's going to be helpful for you if you end up seeing snakes in your career. So I guess hopefully the topics are helpful for that. We just taught at Police Academy for animal control a while back, and so some of the slides are shared from that. But that was a long lecture, so I changed it every time we're here. So I try to make it better every year. And then a little bit about the laws for what's legal, and then snake behavior. So I want you guys to be able to understand kind of based on body language and stuff, and kind of what type of animals they are, how to anticipate what they're going to do, and then handling techniques and tools to be safe when you do have to handle a giant, and any snake in general. This is going to be helpful. Husbandry, just real quick basics about what they need to thrive in captivity, and then we have case reviews, a bunch of case reviews that are pictures of illnesses or injuries, so you can see some specific examples. There are notes available, and the notes have links. There's articles that you can read in it. There's resources for like where to find enclosures and all kinds of stuff. So it's a reference you can use later. I can send it to you, or I don't know how you guys. It's on a website, but if anybody needs access to it, let me know. So this is a super old picture. You probably can't see it, but that's Dr. Finch. There's Mirko. I guess I'm taking the picture, and then Cammy in the background is our LVT. So that's the four main people. Cammy is actually going to be a director probably this year. She does probably more than he does. But that's at one of the expos. We used to go to the reptile expos where people have booths and stuff. We actually quit doing it because it's a lot of time and work, and most of what the expos are about is selling these pets, and a lot of people buy them that sort of shouldn't have them, and so it's kind of not in line with our beliefs and goals for this animal, so we don't really go anymore. They're a lot of fun, but mostly what we try to do is people like you guys that are learning kind of higher level topics in this. So giants are the main thing we do. So I turn away the smaller snakes that are either, so I have something poking in the toe. The snakes that are either easy to rehome or easy to house, or healthy, so the ones that we take are the really big ones, or if they have bad illness or injury that needs special care, or sometimes behavioral problems. So this is Mara. She's here. You can open these up. Mirko, do you want to open those? Is that just going to distract you? She's here actually. So this is these enclosures are 12
Valak, yeah,
Jeez.
Valak's 150.
150 pounds, and I think she was 17'7", like 2 years ago when we measured her, so she's probably close to 20 now. That's a big snake. We just took in another one that's similar size. This is our surgery room. We have 12 feet of heated table, so that's a unique thing about snakes under anesthesia. They need heat, right, to process anesthesia. And if you only heat up part of them, they're 18 feet long, it's not going to work. Makes sense, right? If you got blood flow in 18 feet and you only heat a little bit of it, it's not going to be successful. So this is our surgery. That's a brain laceration that I fixed. This is a cool case. This is a snake that had a degloving injury. Based on what that is, where peel it off, like her neck like was rolled down like a tube sock. You know, we had to put it all back together. But massive damage, and she healed really well. You almost can't see the scars anymore. They are absolutely amazing at healing because they grow new skin every time you shed. Wouldn't that be cool if you get a wound, you're just like, yeah, I'll just grow some new skin and start over. It's pretty amazing. Mammals can't do that really. Okay, so the common, I don't have a clock in here either.
What?
Is that okay? Common pet snake. So we don't take anything venomous either. So most of the time, if you're seeing snakes as a vet, you're going to be like real high level if you're going to be working with venomous. And honestly, in Washington, they're illegal anyways. Dr. Finch does see them here, but that's also part of because she has a wildlife permit, so like she'll be seeing rattlesnakes and stuff. But we don't do that, and that's not part of this topic. The common pet snakes are colubrids, ball pythons, and then carpets and bloods. But what we're talking about are the giants, right? So boas, retics, birds, and anacondas. You guys know which is the biggest, which is the heaviest, which is the longest? A little bit of trivia. Can't leave a giant snake lecture and not know who the heaviest snake in the world is. You can guess. Just holler, yell it. You can't see him, can you? Do you want me to come closer? You guys? Retics, birds, or anacondas? Yeah, that's the heaviest. The retic is the longest. And then birds are somewhere in between. So the bottom are birds, those are retics, and those are boas. You can reference this later too. This is the Washington state law, so tells you just who's legal and who's not legal. The difference between rear fang and front fang is sort of relevant if you're going to be doing venomous. Also, do you know the difference between a venomous animal and a poisonous animal? Somebody tell me.
Venomous would be injection of
Perfect.
that toxin
Yeah.
into you, whereas poison would be like topical, potentially, or ingestion.
Ingestion. Yeah, so poison is ingested, venom is injected. So that's why I talk about the fangs. You think of like rattlesnakes or vipers have the front fangs. Rear fangs are in the back, like a hognose. Garter snakes actually are rear fang venomous. They have to like get your mouth, your hand like way in their mouth and kind of like chew on you to like work it in. So there's only one rear fang that's illegal, the boom slang, because they're venomous. So not really venomous. It's just a front fang ones. So don't let anybody hear you calling a snake poisonous. Poisonous. There are a couple actually. There's a couple of species that are but it's pretty rare. So I always think nobody ever thinks this is that cool. Like, you guys can't see this, can you? Like I can't tell if you can see it. Do you want me to bring it over? Like, you guys should like go to the like upper and lower so you guys can actually see this. I got cool pictures in here, man. Does that help? See it too. Stay tall. Sorry, you guys. I'll bring a projector next time. I don't know, maybe I'm just a nerd. I think it's cool to talk about like why these snakes are what they are. It's kind of like a It's okay if you're wrong, just guess. These are all animal specialists, right?
Yes.
So go ahead. She answered the last question.
I'm just saying that's not necessary, but you can like train them.
And so there is a very specific definition of what these types of animals are. So we actually do train all of them.
It's true that they have different layers of shadings that perform well in the wild versus domesticated, they still perform well in like a kind of a home setting also.
That's for sure true. That's kind of the end result of it. Yeah. So domesticated is a species that has been bred generation after generation after generation to live with people. So cats are domesticated, dogs are domesticated, horses are domesticated. Habituated is a type of animal that hasn't been bred in captivity around people long enough to be dependent on people, right? So they sort of tolerate us. They don't depend on us. That makes sense, right? And so some of our snakes are approaching, I think, being domesticated. So like the ball pythons have been in captivity, being bred for a long time, and they're like coming out in pain because so many people work with them. Versus the blood python hasn't been that popular, so they are more on the side of being habituated. And so what does that mean for how they're going to behave? So the fight or flight response happens in domesticated animals too. It happens in us, right? It's even more strong in habituated animals. So how does the fight or flight response affect even us? Like, you guys kind of know like what it is? 'Cause it is a hormonal physiological response. So you're pushed into a corner, you're either going to have to run away and hide, or you're going to have to fight back, right? Domesticated animals are more likely to understand that they're safe and that they have choices and options. A habituated animal is going to be fight or flight if they're cornered. Makes sense, right? So knowing that these animals are not domesticated and expecting a fight or flight response is going to help you expect what's coming and what they're going to do. So we talk about when we're handling snakes is know that if you really push them into a corner and you're going to not give them somewhere to fly to, then they are going to defend themselves because you got two choices, fight or flight. Makes sense, right? So we always say give them the option to flee and they will take it every time. They're not domesticated to be fight animals or attack animals, right? They're just reacting on instinct. Okay, body language. Am I blocking the camera? Hey, Sarah, that is. That's fine. Well, it is my laptop, so we're really close.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Unless I could find that they guarantee I could get the
Thanks, Sarah, yeah.
space into.
We'll bring a projector next time. That's good. Anyway, so what are we talking about? Body language. So body language we use for communication with every animal we work with, right? Even with each other. So it makes sense to, I tell people when I'm at work all the time that dogs and cats do speak to us. They just don't speak in the same language. They're not necessarily using a verbal language, but their body language is very easy to learn and see and use. Snakes are the same way. These are kind of the basics of what to remember for body language, because when we get the snakes out, I'm going to have you guys kind of see these things. And this is super simple. There's only And then, off the ground. And so they don't have legs, so they're gonna be using their muscles to propel themselves forward. If they're sitting on the ground's gonna slow them down, so that means they're not really being prepared to move quickly, they still can. But this is a clue that's pretty easy to see. If they're up off the ground and they're locked and loaded, what do you think is probably coming? A strike, yeah. Okay, and then, taking that one step further to say which direction are they moving in. Well, that comes from the fight or flight response, right? So if we're gonna try to give them the opportunity to flee, they have to be able to move that way. And if you're in the way, they can't do that. So if they're moving at you, they're not flying, they're not fleeing, they're coming at you with intent, to do something, to just get out of the way. So when we get these laid out, we'll say hello to them, we'll wait till they look away, and sometimes move away, and then we'll reach in. And these are easy to see. Like, you can see this from afar, you can see it in a handling tab, it's really that simple. And then the tongue flick, you guys know what that is? Do you know what the stinky face is? What's that?
It's like wafting.
Yeah. So it's a smell, right? So the vomeral nasal organ is in the roof of their mouth or under their lip. The stinky face is there getting smell to the vomeral nasal organ. We have a vestigial one. That's why if you smell peanut butter or eat a lemon, you'll taste the peanut butter. Have you done that? Right? It's crazy. Or like, if you smell something really strong and eat something bland, and you will taste what you're smelling. And that's why. The tongue flick is basically them drawing scent particles into their mouth to taste that scent. That makes sense? So if they're tongue flicking at something, that just means they're getting information from the world around them. If they're not tongue flicking, they don't want to know what's happening, they're either asleep or potentially scared. Make sense? Good. I hope you guys can see this. Does this surprise anybody? No? I would rather get bit by a snake, even those big guys. Not venomous, right? one of the constrictors than a dog or a cat, anything. The size of these teeth, these are shearing teeth and crushing teeth. This is a Burmese python that's probably 10 feet long, and there's two tiny little teeth. So these are all pictures of us that have been bitten. This is Nikki's finger from a king snake. That's Jeff's daughter's arm from a ball python. That's Mirko's arm from a big 15-foot Burmese python. And that's my hand from a retic. Like you would expect more damage, wouldn't you? It's just a bunch of little. Did you see little chicken?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's coming up.
No chicken.
Chicken! She's coming up. You'll understand. But so you used to see all these little pinpricks, that's all it is. This one is bruised just because of these little needles hit my veins. But that's not big deal, right? Have you seen a bad cat bite or dog bite? So the main thing is, if you do get bit by a non-venomous snake, it's not a big deal. It's really not. So this is what Jeff was saying chicken about. So her nickname is Little Chicken. That's that same picture of my hand that's bruised. So they use smell to find their food or their heat pits. They don't really see very well. They don't really use their eyes. If you smell like food, they're going to hope that your food, and they're obligate ambush predators, not obligate, but ambush predators, so they usually go to sleep on a prey trail. And if something wakes them up, they strike first and then decide, is it edible? And if it's not, they'll let go. So if you smell like food or they're asleep, and if you have a hot hand that smells like food, and you reach in, they're going to grab you before they think whether or not it's food, and then they'll be like, yeah, maybe I'll switch out, maybe I won't. So You can see his pet and that actually, see that's a laceration not sutured up. Okay, so a hook, what's the hook for? Sort of mentioned it. Yeah, wake him up. That's basically to make contact first. How do you tell if this thing is awake? It's a trick question. Yeah, your answer is right. You can't. Yeah, you kind of can't tell. So I mean, you can tell because their pupils will dilate or constrict with what they're seeing. They'll turn their eyes to follow or tongue flick. But you can't always tell, and so always assume that you need to break that food action. So the hook is to wake them up, to make them think that handling is coming. A hide is somewhere to give them the fight or flight ability, right? We don't want them to choose fight, we don't want them to choose flight. Towel can be like a hide, so if you don't have anything, you can just throw a towel over them and come call them up, because then they still feel like they're hidden. A tub, handling tools that put on your clean hands. Don't forget that. Time and patience, so these aren't really tools, right? But time and patience and close observation and being flexible for what they need. So you need to read your body language, you need to remember that they're habituated. They're going to be their fight or flight. So take your time. Then you'll see it might take us a while to get these guys out. Okay. Any questions? So these are videos of body language. Hopefully you guys can see this. So this is Lilith. I finally remembered to turn the volume down on this video. Okay, so if we can play it again, that's kind of the main part of it. So what did you guys first observe? Like when you just call out what you noticed? Good. Yeah, what else? S shape. What else? Perfect. You guys are awesome. And then what did I do about it? Oops. Okay, hold on. Yeah, so perfect. She's off the ground. She's kind of got, it's only like her neck, but still. See, and then she's also coming towards me. You see that? And then what am I doing? Yeah, so the hook is just to say, knock it off. Not food. No, it's not food. Back off. And then what does she do that tells us that she's okay to finally reach in? She turns away. Isn't that a great deal? It's only like 5 seconds long, it shows it all. Okay, here's another one. This is right after that. So we're looking at her body language, but she's not elevated. She's laying her head down. She is watching me, but she's not doing that like sharp stare. I'm still using the hook to grab stuff because I know her, but I'm like, you're probably not ready, but watch what happens. I get impatient. Do you see that? So that's why we have a long hook and we take the time to really see if she's going to do that. So where am I not standing? Like think about, so this is like probably 8 feet of space. Okay, I can find again, sorry. Like, can you see? Just tell me both. But at the beginning of that, think about where I'm standing. So that space in this view is bigger than these enclosures. She's over here. Exactly, I'm not saying right in front of her. So say the snake is here. I'm over here with a hook. So that she's got somewhere to go. Right? So the other thing about these big guys is they're too big to really lift. It's a 3-person snake or more. So our snakes are trained to come out of their enclosure when we invite them and go on the floor themselves. So we don't have to pick them up. And if I'm standing in the way, it's not gonna come out, right? Because they don't ever really want to come right at us unless it's food. hook is a communication tool, it's not necessarily to move them. Remember, I think you might have said it is a redirection tool, so we kind of steer them with it. We rarely use a hook to pick them up. It's more, does anybody work with horses much? Where when you're, yeah, so if you're training a horse, I call it applied behavioral pressures, where you apply a pressure to elicit a desired behavior. Once they start to give you the behavior, you let go of the pressure, you remove the pressure, so that they learn that that pressure is going to stop when they start to comply. And the snakes learn that really quickly, really fast. And so using the hook for that is basically how we apply behavioral pressure. We buckle them with it, and they're going to, because they're habituated, right? They don't want to be petted. They're not here to hang out with us. They're going to move away from the hook. And so just by giving them somewhere to go and touching them on the side away from where you want them to go, they'll move. And as soon as they start moving, we stop bugging them. Pretty soon, there's videos on here. I don't know where it is. We'll get to it maybe. Can't remember which slide set it's in. There's a lot of animals that we worked with that have come in aggressive or injured or really difficult to handle, and pretty quickly with this applied behavioral pressure, we can open the door, show them the hook, they'll look at it, and already start to move where we want them to go. They're that smart. So the training thing, for habituated or domesticated, you still can train them, right? Yeah.
So are all the snake species are associated, or like this whole I thought were like albinoes?
I would not consider them domesticated.
Even the small breed, they have been, you know.
I don't know. I mean, let me know if somebody else that works a lot with snakes would disagree with me. That it just doesn't. I don't see in their behaviors the qualities that I would expect from a domesticated species.
Domestication is also a physiological change that happens in the brain, so
Yeah.
turtles breed
Yeah.
them for personality.
Yeah.
Dogs, their amygdala ended up shrinking,
Yeah.
and then they had
It took a long time. Yeah.
a
And I think you were describing it well, where you say it's more like they are. I can say this.
food response for you, they can't really reproduce.
Yeah.
Flying humans are the same kind of thing, it's not kind of human hair. And then.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, if the environment is right, you can release a ball python. They do not need us. They don't need us. Like we're just there logging them and locking them in a box. Up here, they don't really survive in the wild for temperatures, but does that make sense?
But we do have native snakes.
We do have some native snakes. Gophers and
We're gophers, bull snakes.
bull snakes, right? Garter snakes.
Do people try to carry down like wild snakes sometimes?
Well, and in some states, it's legal to have wild animals. It's not in Washington. What's the Iowa law? Depends on the day.
Right now,
Or do they follow it?
Aren't so nice robots because fishing game is enforceable.
Right. Yeah. I don't know what you're saying. Okay, so hides. Do you guys know, have you ever heard the term positive stigmataxis? That's not
Can you say it again?
positive stigmataxis. Sounds real fancy. So positive stigmataxis means you get a positive feeling from pressure applied to your body. Autistic people come to your nose to hold your grannies. So she created the squeeze sheet for cattle because she recognized in herself positive stigmataxis. So the undershirt for dogs does that, and she realized that when she was really stressed out, if she put pressure, like she would use blankets or like couch cushions, so then she developed this hug machine for herself. So autistic people really benefit from positive stigmataxis. Snakes really utilize it too, and I always think it's kind of we use our hands to move them around, so when I was talking about hands-free handling, this is an example of a snake that was pretty scared, and so we would use our hook to redirect her. She knew from her training to go where we asked her to. We would direct her into her hide, and so that's a good fancy handling with that stuff. Dr. Finch said this doesn't happen as often now, but when I was still learning, a lot of people would bring their snake in their food bin.
What happens?
This will happen. So you do need to think about when you're in clinics, if a snake is brought to you in a tub, transportation tub, you should ask them if that's a food bin. Because a lot of people maybe don't have a lot of money, and they have one plastic tub that their snake fits in. We don't recommend taking your snake out of the enclosure to feed them, for a variety of reasons, but a lot of people do, so they'll put them in a tub to feed them. So, food bin doesn't achieve the same purpose of that, right? So you gotta ask that. Transportation tub, this is a long video, we're not gonna watch this whole thing. But it shows, one of our giants in she doesn't even fit in that anymore. But this shows all of the same, how to interact and how to engage and all that kind of stuff. So same thing applies if you're in clinics and somebody brings your snake in a transportation tub. You need to do all of the same things where you're gonna break the food response, you're gonna use a hook to say hello first, make sure they're awake. You're gonna watch body language. So see, she's looking at me. And so I'm trying to get her, so this is that applied pressure. We're waiting for her to disengage and move away. This is a really shy snake and it takes forever for her to do it. But at some point in this video, I tell Marco to move because he's getting her in her path of flight. So she doesn't know where to go. And so if we can't get her to come out, we'll go on around on the same side together and then she has the ability to go away from us. And if you're in an exam room or something, you can, step over here, look, lift the lid, and touch them, and make sure there's room to go that way. So don't put them in a, like between the exam table and the counter. You should be in the corner with them having somewhere to go. If there's room. Okay, so we talked about the towel. That's basically a hide. What do you think the gloves are for? Yeah, although if your hands are so smelly you don't wear gloves, that's a problem. Wash them. But you're right. You don't want your hair to smell. What else am I gonna do? Do you think I'm wearing them for safety? No. Because why? I'm not scared of getting bit by a snake. I got bit a week ago. That's actually, I was hoping somebody would wonder that, and no, we're not. Because if we're gripping a snake so hard that we need extra traction, that's pretty stressful. Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that is what most people think. And sometimes you do have to hold them that hard, but if you can avoid it, you don't want to because that's just going to make them that much more scared because it's so your hands aren't hot. So I'm glad we think Dr. Finch as an example. Her hands are always freezing cold. She doesn't ever need them. My hands are warm, so I do sometimes do this, but I still do it with Maria, actually.
I'm not surprised.
She's terrible. That's a perfect head on that. She had originally in some way, but we traded for the slugs. She took two even worse. So, it was
I
weird.
still don't touch your skin.
And now they're
I
terrible.
have to move with gloves, which I hate doing, but they're that bad.
Makes sense? So we're not going to choose the big bulky leather glove. We're just using something that's comfortable to wear that you can still fill your fingers with, and I'm just going to make your hand on the top. So now my hand looks like it's the same temperature as my sleeve. It's not going to look like food. Okay. I'm never changing this slide. This is the 6-foot rule.
Yeah. You and I just have to agree to disagree on that one.
We do this every year, so the slide is always the same. In the retech world, where people have breed these 20-foot snakes, this is the rule they're gonna go off of. Every 6 feet of snake, you need another person annually. Dr. Finch, tell us what the rule for in a about a snake, how long is the neck? So you're not gonna pick somebody up by the neck, right? So they don't really like either. And also the tail is kind of a sensitive area, so avoid that in the tail, unless you're maybe an exam and then you need your extra people. Because when we get these guys out, everybody always wants to like go say hi to them and like pet them. They're not domesticated, they don't want to be pet, they want to move away from you, and they don't want you to have to restrain their head. And then I would say be strong but gentle. The most common thing I find with people that are new to handling big snakes is that they're too soft. These guys weigh 100 pounds each. Somewhere around there, right? I don't know, 90 something, 100 something, anyways. That's a big animal, so you need to be strong in moving them, gentle in that you're not restraining them and you're not being rude, I guess is what you said. Does that make sense? And then, you guys know what a snake scarf is? Yeah. Yeah. So I say scarf because I specifically mean the neck. Even a small snake, so like carpet python that's 8 feet long, I call it small. A carpet python's only this big around, right? I'm looking at snakes that are bigger around my leg. So even a smaller snake, if they wrap around your neck on both sides, you can include your vein and you can pass out. So no snake scarves. We have a tendency to want to carry heavy stuff on our shoulders because that's where we're strong, but only do one. And I will correct you over and over when we get them out. So I'll have you hitch, like you're carrying a backpack. So put the weight on your shoulder and then we come over your waist. Make sense? Never do both shoulders. So, and they might want to, so I'll just kick them off one shoulder and I'll put my arm over them. I think that's always sold up. We're gonna do that. Oh, this is the video that shows the hook training for, you wanna watch that later. That's in the notes. Husbandry, what time is it?
It's 5:57.
I'm gonna do that. Okay, so enclosure size, heat, water, food, and hides, that's kind of the basics. These are gonna be like specific to the giants, but it's kind of the same for everyone. This again is that video that shows the 4-foot enclosures and how small they look compared to a giant. It's like a 4-foot enclosure they use for a ball python, probably. Okay, so this is a good recipe for how to choose your enclosure size. So the length of the enclosure plus the width should be the length of the snake. So that's that enclosure. It's behind other ones. So in that other picture, we have other ones here. That makes sense, you guys? So this is 12 by 3. So how big of a snake can go in there? Yeah. An aquarium. So this is a standard 55-gallon aquarium. It's 4 feet, but they're only 1 foot deep. So how big of a snake can go in that? 5 feet. So most boas and ball pythons are going to outgrow that. So an aquarium, even at 55 gallons, is not actually that great of a enclosure. And I should say, back to this really quick, so we have our big snakes in these, so another way to sort of look at this is I want a snake to be able to be fully stretched with only one bend. And so really big girls like this, if they're bent once, they actually can be 20 feet of snake. But that's because if I would love to be able to do this, but then we wouldn't have, I mean, look, who has that much room in their house, right? So there aren't enough homes for these big snakes, and so do the best you can. So the one bed rule is reasonable for the giants. Does that make sense? If you only have one giant, then heck yeah, give it the whole room. These are for later, these are links for purchasing enclosures. And so there's, these are all PVC, so these are going to be better enclosures. And some of these are not that expensive. So there's, you can see there's a whole bunch of places you can get them. So an aquarium, glass aquarium is not awesome. most common reason we get an injured snake coming in. The screen causes a bunch of damage to their nose. So this is a Petco picture of what they would like recommend for a snake. There's so many things wrong with this. We don't have time, but if you go find the notes later, you can read this article, and it goes through all of these topics of what a screen top does to the animal sort of senses and why it causes so many problems. And it's so significant that we don't use them. Like, people don't try to donate or anything. Okay, exercise. So if you're gonna have a giant or any snake really, they do need to have room. So like we're talking about a 20-foot snake if it's in a 12-foot enclosure. That's not something you want it in all the time. So you do need to have room for them to come out and exercise. But it has to be a safe space where they can't escape, and it's controlled and they have room to move. So like you can see, this is in the python room at Snake House. That's Lilith. So it's her. She's about to head up the roof. So just an example of being aware of where you are if you're getting out for an exam, make sure your cupboards are closed, and like there's gonna be all kinds of fun stuff that you can get in here. Okay, so heat, again, this is true for any snake. They need a basking spot where they can get really, really warm. And they also need a warm corner and a cold corner. So that's, in my opinion, 3 temperature zones: cold, warm, and hot. So if you don't have even 2, it's just 1 ambient room temperature. That's pretty lame. In a giant enclosure, that means we have 3 different thermostats. So we have a thermostat controlling the basking zone, a thermostat controlling what's what the sport is, the hot zone or warm zone, and then we also have one controlling the cold side because we have heaters on the cold side as well because most rooms are at 75. This one is. For the giants, having belly heat can be a problem. This is a problem for any snake. So we also have a lot of snakes that come in injured from burns. This is true of lizards too. They don't have the same skin sensations really, that they don't register pain the same way that we sort of think they do. They do feel pain, but their drive to get their core body temperature stable is higher than their pain sensation from a burn. So if you have a heat rock or a heat lamp or a focused heat source, and there's this big body, they're going to put whatever they can get on the heat, and because it's not heating up the rest of them, they're going to stay there because they still think they're cold. Does that make sense? And so our belly heat, we have you can see it in the podium to get them out. This is chloroplast, so you have to have some airflow between the heat and the animal. It needs to be controlled by a thermostat so that it shuts off at a certain temperature, and if it shuts off before the rest of the snake gets to 90 degrees, you're not supplying the heat that they need anyways. And it protects them from burns. Both overhead and belly is needed for the big guys. Water, they need to have water. So you'll see a snake in an enclosure which is like a drinking dish. They will bathe readily, and they'll soak themselves before a shed. Who are the giants? That's Val. This is a big cement mixing tub. She's broken like 5 of them. So that's a challenge with the giants. Finding something big enough that they can actually soak in is important. It also needs to be changed regularly. So if they're going to go in the water, they'll probably pee and poop in it, which is awesome actually, because then it's easy to clean. But it's heavy, so we use a shop vac to change them. This is just a yellow anaconda that has a shed. And you can see her. I left her shed in there so you guys can actually see it. So they prefer to soak first so that it comes off easily. So you need to give them something. This is something super simple. It's just a plastic tub with a hole in it in the lid. And that's an anaconda. So it's not hard to do. Now that's our nice anaconda cages. So these are 8 by 4 foot. An aquarium on the bottom and then the climbing area above. But they need water. Food for giants is a challenge. Honestly, I don't recommend giants. But if you're not like me, you really like them, it can be done. But that's a pretty typical meal. And so if you have somebody that's interested in these guys, they should Okay, case reviews, these are the cool ones, hopefully you can see them. So this is the same snake 1 year apart. So this is showing body condition. Dr. Finch and I were not arguing, we were complaining about somebody on Facebook that was saying that my picture didn't show what I saw a snake. She sent me this diagram, no muscle. So if you look at the head, this is gonna sound terrible, but we call it head boob. For the masticatory muscles on dogs, it's the same idea, right? You have those big chewing muscles, it's the same thing, so if you look, it doesn't have any of them. So 1 year later, so if they only eat once a month every 2 months, how long do you think it takes to get this? That's a body condition score of 1 out of 9. Years. Yeah. So the bummer thing about snakes is they can survive a long time in terrible, terrible conditions. So they suffer more than a more sensitive animal would be, which is just terrible. So I mean, they deserve good care. And I mean, the blessing of actually passing away from neglect means you don't have to suffer it anymore. These guys will live for years in terrible conditions. It's just so sad. So injuries, these are, this is a burn. Let's see this small. So burn's going to be kind of red and almost have like a rubbery appearance. This is rub mark. So this is a snake who's rubbing on the enclosure. So either her skin is not strong enough, so she has some kind of an illness that's made her scales more soft. So this is an animal that either has mites or is sick for some other reason, and it's a symptom of a bigger problem. This is a scar, so you can't really see that one there, but, and this is up to rub spot. I can't see it either. This is a laceration, so that's a cut in the skin. These are scars, so these are healed. So this is a common way you're going to see a scar where they get real thick and kind of white and like you're missing scales. We've developed over the years a heated water bath. This is the first snake that did it, but can you see this white line that goes all the way along here? Yeah, well that's kind of the point, like you almost can't see it. So when this snake came in, this wound was this wide, this long, and it was bone deep for vertebrae. And with the right environment, that's all she's done. They have an amazing ability to heal. Versus these are wounds that healed in less ideal conditions. So if you have them in the right condition, they will grow new skin so dang fast that they will close the wound. It's amazing. I was into superpower. I wish I could do that.
So with wounds like that, are you like suturing or are you using sealing or anything? Just nothing.
Yeah, even well, no, a lot of times they've been neglected for a long time and they've been dirty. So if you're gonna suture a wound close, that's a primary closure. So you need to have a clean wound if you're gonna close it. So in the very beginning of the slides of the surgery suite, I had the one that was laceration and then the degloving injury. We saw those wounds happen, so they were immediately addressed surgically, so we did close those. But most of the time when you get them in there, like dirty and old and desiccated and infected. And so we do a heated water bath with medications in it. So the key there is it's raising the body temperature to a level that they can start to grow new cells really quickly. If you're cold-blooded animal, how do you grow new tissue without that heat force? But it's tricky. It has to be clean and there's details and all. Okay, so these are 3 abnormal pictures. Only one of them needs to go to the vet. So which one do you guys need to treat? Hopefully you can see it well enough. So it's the big one. And the key with this one is it's not symmetrical. So this is a subspectral snake, these two snakes live, they're both there as a match. So this one does not. Does that make sense? Okay. This is like a 25-year-old ball python. So he's just over the dirt and you can't see. This is one of our boas that's in blue, so she's gonna shed. I love this picture too because her big flat cheeks. Because she eats really big 3-pound rabbits, and so her skin is stretchy. She's a little fatty, a big fatty. Okay, mouth injuries. So this shows a screen top injury on one of these. So the key with all of these is looking at symmetry is helpful here. So this one is a screen top injury, so I call them cheese graters. So if a screen is allowing all the heat to escape the top, these guys are going to follow heat. They will push against that screen trying to follow that heat. So this boa is missing a huge amount of the nose. So he did that for so long he lost a bone. We actually had to euthanize him because he had osteomyelitis that was maxillary bone. So, and that's just for the screen top. Of course, it was dirty and not, set up properly. Also, you can actually make a screen top doable, but it takes more work. This one is a mass. You can see her chin is swollen. This is sinus abscess, so you can kind of see all different swelling. This is stomatitis. What you can see in this one is the mouth isn't closed all the way. So if you look just like quickly, you can't really see it, but it's not even, it's not closed. There's a lot of extra old tissue around. And then this one, you also, it's hard to see, but her face is also swollen. See how puffy it is around her eye? Okay, stomatitis is that same one. And so when their mouth is closed, they have a window for their tongue, but their lips do touch. Whereas you can see this guy's mouth is open. This is what the inside of his mouth looks like. And so you can see all these spots where it's red and inflamed and swollen. So don't forget to look in the mouth. I've got snakes that come in and I've got other vets send me stuff. And I open the mouth and there's a tumor in there. Or a boa at the very beginning of the presentation, they have no idea what there. It was fake. That's a normal mouth. Can you see the difference? Depends on the cost. Yeah. So that one cedar was a ball pit, and he did not survive. He was so sick. One of the more common causes of stomatitis is nidovirus, and that's oftentimes fatal. It is really difficult to treat, but it can be done. And most of the snakes that come in really sick is husbandry that fixes it. You have to get them in the right environment, get them warm enough, remove infection, and then they heal themselves. So this is retained shed. So this is showing a bunch of stuff actually. So her mouth is open, so she's having respiratory issues. She's got retained shed, which means she's dehydrated also. She's very skinny. There was also a ball python, which they prefer to be in a ball. That's why they're called ball pythons, and they prefer to be on the ground. They will climb for food or if like their environment's flooding. They're primarily ground dwellers. And so what the heck is she doing? Right, so behavior's wrong. There's so many things wrong. This is also a screen top snake. Screen top aquarium. Her substrate had mites in it, kind of I think like a year. And so she's locked in this box, and she's cleaning the substrate. She doesn't know where to go, and you heat that substrate. What's going to be flowing past her in there? It's ammonia. So she's getting caustic burns to her lungs, and then she's going to injure her nose to get out. I mean, so many things wrong. However, that is 1 week later. So, talk about resilience. So we just put her in the, we didn't do antibiotics, we didn't do anything, we treated her mites topically, we gave her a bath and put her in our ICU enclosure. A week later she shed, she had rehydrated herself, and she didn't even need treatment. That's all that was doing. This is also retained shed. You guys see how it kind of just add water, like, they just need a bath. Okay, so sometimes the simplest thing, when you get a snake that comes to you for care and they're sick, what's the first thing you're gonna look at? This is true of any exotics. Husbandry. Yeah, and you'd be surprised at how quickly they can heal themselves if you just give them some the right community, the right temperatures. So keep with that. This guy unfortunately didn't survive; he was too sick. But around 92, cooled off really fast. So this is not a retained shed. This is actually an inclusion body disease. What you can see in the picture here, I know it's hard to see, but her skin kind of looks like a retained shed, but if you'll feel the difference. It's deeper, it's kind of a thicker abnormality. There's other things that have to go along with inclusion body disease, but at the end stages of it, they will have this really kind of weird skin texture and look to them. Okay, so these are behavioral symptoms. What do they do? Oh. So there's supposed to be videos. Well, so this is an Ouroboros. You guys know what that is? It's a circle where the snake is eating its tail. That's real. This is one of her snakes. So king snakes eat snakes. And so sometimes they're too hungry and they think their tail is food. They're like, oh, there's another snake in the enclosure. And they'll eat their own tail. Usually when this is happening, the enclosure is a little too warm. So they're just like, hey, we're hungry, let's eat whatever we can. And so how did we get her to spit himself out? Yeah, just put hand sanitizer on. So she did that, walked away for a minute, and did it again. So then we had to cool him off and like lower the temperature. And did you put him in cold water? I can't remember. I think I told you like dunk him in some cold water, like calm that little bugger down.
It doesn't help enough to have pretty severe powers.
Yeah, and he's stubborn and yeah. So anyways, but this is common. Like there's videos of like some of the really popular snake guys on Facebook or YouTube that'll show that. So it happens pretty often in king snakes. That's the same one again. This is just talking about the abnormal posture. This is, you can see her lip is swollen. That's because she's pushing on her homework. So if it's a straight top and they push, they're not going to break it off. But they'll still sometimes push like if they're for different reasons. So these just need husband changes. Why not videos aren't playing, right? One was a snake coughing, you can see in the notes there, and one was an IBD snake that is neuro. Remember we were talking about being symmetrical? So this is like looking at like a mass on a dog. This is a congenital spinal defect. So these are all bumps in the spine. These are little abscesses that she actually removed for us. And then these are abnormal bone growths on the ribs. Okay, so those are the ribs. You can see the x-ray. That's most likely a mycoplasma infection. Bone cancer comes with that too. This is the congenital spine, so he's born this way, but it gets worse over time. And this is what I've mentioned from the anaconda. Okay. Remember rats will eat meat? So this is a big bad 8 or 9 foot long anaconda. Like that's like what media tried to say is what the scariest thing in the world. A rat. They're not that big, scary, tough animals as people think. They're very sensitive to their environment. They're not very good at hunting. Like they're gonna miss their strike 9 times out of 10. That's why you get out of the way, because who knows what they're aiming at. It's usually not correct. And so, yeah, if you get bit by one of these guys, they're usually not really aiming for you anyways. It's just an accident. So this is actually showing vertebrae. Can you see the vertebrae in that one? This anaconda had a live rat in its enclosure for 3 days. That's all it took. He's fine. I think it's totally into the snake house. We did his heated water bath technique on him also. He was also in so much pain. He was very defensive and almost impossible to handle. Every time we tried to handle him to do treatments, he would wrap me. It was really heavy on him. actually can't see his scars. He grew so much new skin, you can't tell by there. And he actually grew his heels. Pretty weird. We didn't think that they could do that until we started doing this. Mostly that's testimony. Okay, so that's the end. Remember the rules for how to approach. We're gonna get snakes out now. These are links for how to get a hold of us. Remember, we're full, so we're actually not as much of a rescue anymore as we'd like to be. We don't have anywhere to put these guys, but we have absolutely are here to answer questions. If you get a case and you can't get a hold of her, you can email me. But don't give out my phone number because then I have people call me every 5 minutes. But email me anything you want, any questions, especially if you start seeing cases that you don't know what to do. Yeah, I would help you guys learn. Okay, so lights on. We're gonna. You guys want to get up and stretch and go to the bathroom as much as you can, but you want to see the fun stuff, yeah. Yeah.
So, it's obvious that they're
Whereas these girls are gonna, at least that's what it's gonna be, run all over the place. making contact. Okay, and what are you gonna do first? So this is kind of a trick question. That's what I was hoping everybody was gonna say.
Let's see what they're doing.
Yeah, look first. So I remember Dr. Finch teaching me when I was in school that your exam starts with just your eyes and evaluating what the animal is doing in whatever they are brought to you in, right? So that's the theme here. You don't rush in until you look where the animal is. Are they awake? Are they asleep? What's their body language? So we're first just gonna look and make some decisions. Then it's nighttime. Okay, so we've got specs over here. So these are just some examples of the hooks, you guys. This is my favorite one. We have like 4 of the red ones. But so these are some of the other ones. So all it really is something to extend your reach, right? The hook part is nice and comfortable, but you can achieve the same result with like a yardstick or a room handle. Like it doesn't have to be a hook; it could be anything that breaks that feeding. Does that make sense, you guys? So many and then what do you think they're using this for?
Big snakes.
So feel how heavy this is. Like reach out, like you're gonna pick somebody up with that. Do you think you can pick up a 100-pound snake with that?
Not me.
I can't. Well, so we use this one to pull them towards us. So like in a big, I mean, feel how heavy this is. But look at the foot. Oh, it's even got skin on it. Sorry. See how big that hook is, and look at her belly. So like in our enclosures, if you have an enclosure big enough, it's gonna be 3 feet deep, and like our 12-footers, they're like way down around the corner. I can't reach up, and I'm not strong enough to pull them towards me when I'm bent over like this. So we use the hook to pull them towards us. Okay, so Nikki, how's your wrist? Where'd she go?
That's fine.
Yeah, do you want to handle those?
I'll do whatever you tell me to do.
This is very different. Okay, so we need a towel. Did you see what she did? You guys see? Come over here so you can see Bella. So what is Epic on the top doing? Yeah. What do you think that could mean? Yeah, it could mean that she's gonna shine. What else? Yeah, she could be hot. What else? Yeah, sometimes. I love it when they do that. It's so much easier to clean. Sometimes they'll do that with their mites. So like they'll drown them, or if like their skin's itchy or something. So if you see a snake that's soaking nonstop, you want to be asking why, right? She went 3 days without water in a trailer driving over here. So I'm kind of not surprised. Who wants it? Do you want to take Epic or Harley?
Harley.
Harley, okay, so
Yeah.
come here.
Come on.
I know, she's a everybody's favorite. This is wet. Okay, so one year we had to bring bolt cutters and cut the locks off because of the rubber keys. I have changed my system since then. Okay, so what do you want to tell me about her body language right now? Yeah, what else?
May or may not be weird.
Yeah, that's a good one. And she's not moving and not doing anything. So a big one is may or may not be awake. That's the key one. So what I'll do is I'll like tap the enclosure first. And I don't want to be rude and just go right and smack her in the head, right? So I'll touch the floor just to wake them up. And sometimes they'll be like, because they're hoping that food's coming. So if they're on a prey trail and they feel footsteps and they're like, food? No, they'll switch out. But so I'll use, if I don't know the snake, and she's so good, I can literally just reach in the pan. I'm not worried, but we're ready. We brought all the You still should. I'm saying don't be afraid of her. But so we'll use the door as a shield, or if they're in a tub, you can use the lid as a shield. So like I'll open the lid this way, so I'm behind it. So that if they are confused, you have that, but I might as well touch what they're in, and I'm gonna touch her, and we're still waiting about her body language. Yeah, so she's gonna go, right? She isn't showing us any of those things, so then I'll still use my hook so it's over her head, just in case, you never know, and then I'll reach in and pet her, and then like, I should be over here, right? So she can go away from me if she wants to. Now this is epic, we call her the class clown, which you can do anything to her, like she actually loves being around people. So she's not gonna be showy. Remember, you get the wet one. As you go. Now does this count as elevated? No. Okay, so, this is epic. She actually, when she came to us, she was advertised as a enclosure with a free snake. And so anytime we see that, we're like, okay, that's a snake that probably needs help, because they don't even care about the animal. They're selling an enclosure, it's tough as that snake is, so. She was in like a donut enclosure that had no heat, and her face was so swollen with abscesses, you guys can pet her, with abscesses that were calcified, they'd been there so long, we actually put her in one of our, don't be shy guys, like, she's like, come here, only put your hand up. So it just goes here finally. And so remember, don't grab her, but yes, she likes you, see, she's going up. So you can put her on your shoulder, if you want. She's so So remember one shoulder, not two, but so we had her for like a year on multiple antibiotics. We did sinus drains, like we did all this work to try to get her face to heal, and nothing worked. So we finally gave up and put her in one of our custom enclosures, and she healed herself. It's like she didn't even need me. She just needed a good enclosure, and you can see now her face looks great. So you guys can all touch her. We're gonna get Harley on next. You guys want to watch? Let's get Harley, and then you guys can pet her, pet them both together. Okay. Okay, so tell me what you guys think about Harley. In the middle. Yeah. Small. She's in her high. What does that mean? She might be asleep. What else?
Might be guarding yourself.
Yeah, so she could be feeling vulnerable. No. So if you knew the snake was a problem child or was defensive, what could you do to clean this enclosure without stressing her out? Yeah, you can tip her up the movers. That's why I like hides that don't have a floor. So what do we need to do to get her out?
Still make noise.
Like,
Yeah, and so we're gonna do the same thing with every snake. So we want to wake them up first, not with our hand. So we've already made our decisions about kind of what she's doing, where she is, right? Okay, so I'm first gonna so just kind of make a little bit of noise, tap the floor. We're just watching to see if she comes flying out looking for food. I'm gonna touch her hide. Okay, still not coming out. Next, I'm gonna pet her. So I'm just gonna pet her and see what she. Oh, look, her tongue right there. So do you see her tongue? So she's doing the tongue flicking. So that means she's interested. She's like, oh, what is that? Okay. That was reading her right at her head. Come over here. She's not coming out. So what do you think I should do? I couldn't hear her. I'm just gonna pull her eye out. So this is gonna be like what you're gonna come across in a clinic, right? So this is our, now you get to see what I'll do if we're coming out of a transportation box. So I will open these like this away from me so that you can use that as kind of a shield. And then I'm gonna look and see where the head is. I'm still using this like I use the door, so then I'm gonna pet her. Okay, if her body language is telling you right now. It was really subtle.
She's showing to kind of go
She actually is backing up, right? Yeah. And that, so that tells you that she's moving away, she's disengaging. She is doing what though? She's looking towards me, so she's still a little concerned. She's keeping me in her sight. So what I'll sometimes do, I'm gonna be real gentle. I'll just apply a little bit of pressure to get her to turn away. So now that she's turned away, does that make sense? Yeah. So it's not like a dog where they're making their tail coming at you, looking at you. You just want them to turn away. Oh, she's so warm.
Apparently she's in a better mood this time than last.
No, this is the one that's always been.
No, she would not come out the second day last year.
Well, she did.
No, she was pissed. She would not come out anything.
Okay, so you guys can have some fun things with the blood. There's a little split, put them away in these big things. So now's the time to hold blood. You're gonna do it.
That was nice because she goes to Brandon. You don't have time to
Let's go into the middle a little bit. So see how straight she is? So she's looking for a tree branch. You know, she's not hogging that S. So when you go to touch them from below. Just like if you're gonna pet a dog, right? You go to their chin, not their forehead. Does that make sense? And she goes, this makes sense. She's good.
And usually, like Dr. Sarah was saying, their necks and their tails are gonna be more sensitive. So usually you can kind of tell where their neck ends based on how they're curving. Somewhere in here to the end of the neck. So if you touch her, bring it into that. She's gonna be a little more.
And then you guys do that? Yeah, good. You saw that so here's some more stars. I wish you shoved. Did I do that too last year? Yeah.
That's on my list.
So hand her off.
I know, I was getting my list.
She's so awesome. I can take her. Okay, put her on your shoulder.
What, hospital?
One shoulder on, one good job. And then kind of scoot her forward because you only got part of it. There you go. And then do you see what she's doing? She's wrapping around your waist. And then when I hold her, I say open hand. So we don't have the temptation to squeeze. So that's just going to scare her because you have to.
Yeah.
But if you're just handling the snake, she's so cute. Look at this little ball. So I get pissed. But so I'll do an open hand. Where are you going, honey?
Oh, what happened when she started?
So when we got to her house to pick her up, the owner was afraid of her because of the older than you. And I actually should get her. I was like, I don't know what I'm
That's the part that really don't like. So, anytime I'm doing an exam, I'll look at their head. You just be like, rather than till the very last night, because one is the best mom.
So if she's gonna go, you just let her go on her arm and then she'll come off and you just go to her. Just stand there and be like, okay, and she'll switch. Well, maybe not. And the boas are much calmer, the type of snake, so they tend to be pretty slow. So I always just kind of up. That's what I say. Don't talk to her. Set her on. Shoulder, you good?
Was what that was
So I actually train our snakes to do one shoulder and a waist, so that you can actually just walk around hands free with them. These are the boarding ones. So put them back These two boas are just amazing. So we should put them away because the next ones are gonna be more fun.
Yes, the head is over there.
Yes. No, so.
Look at me.
I swear these two know how to pose for pictures.
I would say if you had to average it out, probably
Did you guys see what's in here? So this is just to give them cover, the eye number. So if you're dealing with a snake that's like super scared or something, as simple as just taking a bunch of crumpled up paper and putting it in their travel bin with them, and do wonders to make them feel safe. Okay, now we're ready for it. Sorry, guys. So she'll go in on her own typically, and so just kind of get her pointed in the right direction. And so when she sees it's her house, and we let them go. It's not like work, but she's like, no, I'm just saying. You know.
Nicole, look at me.
So she is a Hog Island bow, which is a locality that is very arboreal.
Okay.
So they evolved on a Hog Island, it's a really small island where it doesn't have ground mammals. So they evolved on birds
Okay.
and became arboreal. So normally this would scare a less socialized snake because you only have a butt and a neck.
Oh,
Does that make sense? Sure. Those are good thing to kind of notice. So you want to kind of like really hold their middle. So if you're just holding the neck and the tail and you're like out handing them off, she's gonna be like, oh God, you're gonna drop me or you're gonna strangle me or does that make sense? And so it's weird to try to think what part of their body are you wearing. She says, I like you, man. You want to walk this way? She's not. I guess she's not leaving now. You're stuck with her power. Does that make sense, kind of? Like, and it's even harder when it's 18 foot because it's like, what, your neck is 3 feet long. some mates where they'll just be like, so you'll be at another level if you're gonna be doing it on it, but so.
Unless they're in blue. If they come into you with blue eyes, then you have to be a little bit more
Yeah,
careful.
that's true. It's the body language that's gonna tell you. Anybody else? No? Okay, so we're gonna do the most annoying, difficult, weekly ones, the heaviest, tiring ones next. Because they're gonna be, this one's pretty mellow, this one's pretty active. And they're both big enough that we're not likely to hold them all. We should probably just do Lily first and let them do the snake train. And then put her down. Lilith is pretty good at doing like crawling from shoulder to shoulder. Was this one? She's real heavy, real fast, and so if I'm, can you actually, if I'm running at the camera, just get it out of the way? Well, you're fine now, but like she's gonna move in a hurry, so if I push you out of the way and I run to catch her, sorry.
If she yells move, it's
Just
move.
move, yeah. So.
Want these doors closed?
Yeah, well, we shouldn't lose it that much, so. I'll keep up with it better than that.
Okay.
Maybe. Okay, so what do you think her body language tells you? Yeah. Pretty likely. What else? Notice where her head is. Yeah, what is that? A cheek. She's keeping her, yeah, she's keeping her head safe. And so like, that's why ball pythons do that too. They'll tuck their head underneath and then they'll, because they'd rather take a bite to their, big meaty back. But she might be asleep is the biggest one. Now these are reticulated pythons. They're one of the fastest, most food aggressive snakes out there. And so if you see reticulated python on your appointment list, that's a different level just because of what it is. Even if it's small, they're gonna move more, they're more likely to be arboreal, they do everything more quickly. I would say these guys are more likely to give you a response than not, whereas the will do the hi. They're more likely to just sit and watch and not move. These guys are gonna move. Okay, so what should I do first? Yep, and then what? Yep, and then what? Yep. So, just making noise already. I saw her move, so I know she's awake. Here you go. You see her? So she's looking to see what's coming at her. I'm still giving her a minute. And I'm just gonna politely pat her and say, hey, I'm looking at ya. Now, what is her body telling ya? So she lifted up to see me, but what did she not do? Yeah, she didn't come towards us, she didn't even point her nose at me, so I'm gonna open her up. And so then remember what I did before I pet the big snake with the hook?
The snake.
Yeah, kind of over her head, and all that does is if she does move really fast, it gives me some sort of buffer to like bonk her with, just because I mean, that's rude, you don't really want to bonk them in the nose, but I'd rather that than me get hit. So I'll just do that, and I'm gonna pet her. So retic, see what we call a retic kick, she's not doing it. Sometimes they'll just buck because they're saying you're annoying. Okay, so do you think she's good? Why? Yeah. So she still hasn't turned towards me, she's not moving towards me, but she's, I'm gonna finally move. Come on, wake up. So she's not actually showing, she's normally more active. Here we go. Come on, come out. There we go, see what she did? She went away. No, see, I'm still using the hook just to guide. There we go. So now she's coming out, so she knows I'm asking her to come out. I'm gonna get out of her way and see if she wants to do it herself. And so remember that applied pressure? I'll see, she doesn't want to come out. So see how clear it is? So she's going away. And then I'm gonna get out of her way, so if she wants to come out, she can. If she's going that way, I'm gonna step the other direction. Does that make sense, you guys? Just get out of their way. So still not looking at me. I'm gonna pat her again. Still going away. I'm wanting her to come out, so I'm trying to give her, there we go. I'm trying to give her a place where she can come out if she wants to. Now she's thinking about it. And so I'm still away from the direction she's going so that she has somewhere to go. Come on. So I'm still applying the pressure until she does what I want her to do. And I'm just gonna get bored and I'm gonna yank her out. But, you don't wanna come out, huh? Hi. You see, all of her body language is telling us that she's not interested in coming after me, right? Does that make sense? It's pretty clear, don't you think? So just put her to the ground here, let her kind of run around for a minute. Okay. Yeah, she'll get cold eventually, so you guys can come up and pet her. I'm just gonna kind of stay with her head. We'll help you guys get her on your shoulders in a minute. I just want to give her a second. Aren't they so cool feeling? So when she's kind of awake and more interested in moving around, we'll pick her up. So that's sleeping, guys. Right? And so notice when I touch her here, she kind of like gets annoyed. I don't even notice her backing up. That's because I'm on her neck. Well, that's not working. But there, see how she backed up? Because I was on her neck. Versus back here, she doesn't as much. Does that make sense, you guys? See you again. Oh, she's not good. Okay, so hold on a second. On shoulder. Oh, come on. Oh, come on, get her. Oh, don't make me do it. Get her on your shoulder. And then you guys come to the front of the line. Keep coming, keep coming. Keep coming. Oh, it's on my shirt. Oh, that's my shirt. Somebody else come over this way. And then you guys want to walk that way a little bit. Everybody walk. There you go, there you go. So don't squeeze, open hand.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna help you. Yes. There you go. You see how this is perfect. You guys see how her fingers are closed? Yeah. So somebody come get the front of her. And you're just kind of giving her a perch to keep running along. Yeah, if you don't have enough tail to hold, then come this way. Oh, just go the other way. Yeah, okay. Let her do it. Yeah, so you're just fine. You're not getting older. You guys feel how strong she is? So everybody's saying you have to make sure she's like, so just play. And if she chooses to stay with you, she will. If she doesn't, you can't make her do it. Yep. Yep. But something that you guys are noticing is that when somebody comes out of the grip search, she backs away. Because that's her neck. Does that make sense? And so that's too close to her. Does that make sense? You can see she's really close to her head. She's like, oh, I don't know. So when I talk about being strong but gentle, you kind of get what I mean? Yeah. So she's just breathing. It's just because she's so big.
It's not like when you.
No, she's just moving air. That's what I want. Yeah, it was under my shirt. I mean, come here. Oh. No, when they're coiled like this, be careful they're not gonna fall. Right. Oh, sorry. Under my shirt again. Oh my. I get a little more. How many times have you taken this last time, Beth? 4 or 5 at least. Okay, so we're gonna get another reset out. So that's a biggie. Those kids are like worms here. So, who wants to, you're gonna go ahead and teach her around really cool. Mara doesn't do the train as well, so she's just kind of slower, so it's get that first. Okay. Mary, no! You're using your foot, you're on concrete, you're just dragging her. Pick her up and steer her. I just don't want to hurt her. Thank you, Jeff. Do we need to put her away or you can be okay?
She's going after cow.
Do you have Jeff help you?
I've been turning about this water.
Remember, Mickey's gonna relieve you since I'm worried and you can't.
I'll be into the tomorrow. I'll see you.
Yeah, so apparently she's still like in some but like they're actually
So
feel.
when I lifted like this and aimed it,
Okay.
Hey.
And
you guys are good, right?
Yeah, we're
Here you
good.
go, come on, me. So this is the same type of snake, but she's much quieter, calmer. I guess it's a snake. So she's different, genetic disorder. She's just rolled over. No, the shape's got no markings. The rainbows are natural.
You're still on her.
Okay, so tell me what you think about. Hey guys, what do you think? What are you doing? Okay, so you just thought she's awake, right?
Don't move on to that.
What you say she's on?
I'm just gonna say your enclosure, that little bit. Should that shake everybody else up too generally, or do you don't know?
Yes, but you don't know her. Yes. Okay, so what do you think about her body language?
Okay.
Yeah, potentially, right?
Alright, you're not proud of me.
You guys still good?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we need to do? So she's touching the door, so even moving the door is gonna tell her. Okay, you can move the door so we know she's awake. She's not, we're not rude, it's real cool. Okay, see her tongue now? Pat her. And we're just waiting to see what she's gonna do. We're gonna give her a second to think, get an idea of what everything is telling you. You know,
That's
open it.
That's why we get.
Okay, then what's next? Yep, if I need to touch her, what do I do? Yes, and do this. And then, and we're not touching her, okay, we're just giving ourselves a little safety net is all. Yeah, just can't come up, reach out, okay?
Yeah, she's that big.
Not quite sure yet, right? Yeah. So she's not looking at me, she's not coming towards me, she's not doing any of those behaviors, right? So that means you're okay to mess with her. She's really mellow. Not really, they touch her tail, huh? Okay, we're gonna put her on the floor too. Thank you. Oh, she's a grunty. Nice young pretty. Okay, so did you ever get around? They can. Oh, that's no problem. Does he really for somewhere to hide back there? But you see how much more mellow she is? So same species, just different personalities. Jeff can, work your butt off over there, Jeff. You guys can pick her up if you want, but like, man, she's heavy. You guys see what she's doing right now? She's saying hello. Yeah.
She's like, Mom, pick me up.
Pretty amazing, right?
She is.
What?
Do you see how much
Everything's legal in Washington? Everything's legal in Washington?
Depending on where you live. So in some cities, it's a size restriction.
I see.
So in most cities, if it's more than 6 feet, you can't have them. But a lot of places don't have laws at all, right?
You're annoying.
You guys can pick them up. Now's your chance to really handle these guys. And you start all at once. I oftentimes at steakhouse, you guys, I will pick her up on one shoulder and then I'll just walk with her and drag her. She's way calmer, right? Way different. So if you have a big retic that's coming in for an appointment, expect Lilith and hope for Mara. Hi, Fred. You can still just be a person to her. I'm not going to.
So strong.
She's very heavy.
I can fall.
She's like, it's not hurts.
Okay. Stop squeezing, you're scaring her. She said, you're scared.
I don't even know you. You gonna sniff me? I don't even know you.
And a lot of times before I just start a class, they will continue to not to be
It's got a very good hiding place, I'm sure.
so like, I'll go like, this is why you're all doing this, and then like, I mean. You guys get tired, you can put her away. Does anybody else want to hold the wiggly one?
Oh, they usually use hers for shed in the space of night.
She can hold them, not even close. It's like a bubble.
I'm gonna do it.
Okay, I'm not playing with your butt.
Can you take a deep breath?
Yes.
You got a blast?
So I'll do this and get my arm over.
Oh, okay.
Don't go over there and trip
I didn't realize this was coming from you.
Okay. Cover yourself.
With where?
That's okay. Oh,
She's fast today.
Back here.
celebrity around you.
You're going to wait.
Yeah.
It's just a ball. Which is the way you go. Okay, she's trying to do that. Don't scare you. This is perfect where you got one shoulder and a waist. Somebody can get her head. You just look over her tail. And let's all walk this way.
Whoa.
Everything over there.
Okay? See how fast she goes. Don't squeeze. So, like, with the right handling, these guys can learn to get injections like this and like all kinds of stuff. I will actually like do an oral exam on mistakes, like I can't actually like look at her mouth and stuff because she's trying to let me. Does that make sense, you guys?
I mean, one of these, like, when I take an exam, like, this was so, no, for real.
Oh, the pressure?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like what?
You do not want to go out or go in.
Are you guys okay? Remember flat hand rhythm with blocker? There you go. So when you're trying to come out, and we need to go back, we'll do a flat palm and we'll just nose to it. So that's like a pressure to get it. Oh, okay. Take a deep breath. No, a real deep breath. In, that'll slow your heart rate. It'll calm that down. So like you're gonna come across stressful situations when you're handling animals. So start practicing that. And you feel like a jump. I jump all the time. But if you do a big couple of deep breaths, that actually slows your heart rate, it'll lower your blood pressure because they feel that. But that's not everyone.
smile.
There, give her the camera.
Let's feel better.
Well, I'm gonna try it, so here, look at the camera. Here, come up. Come this way, I'll take it. Just keep doing it again. I'm trying to do it. There you go. That's your first shot. Your edge.
Dr. Mason. Perfect. Alright, everybody look at me. Nice.
She's like, oh, you're taking the picture.
Nice.
The next two are way calmer.
Cool.
Okay. So if you really got put back quickly because she's so tiring. You guys want to do the birds or stay with Mara for a little bit?
But yeah.
You guys all want to walk this way? We're gonna put her back just a little bit.
Yes,
Yes.
that was my favorite. I'm so sorry,
We're all in the I really kind of like that. I was like, ready to stand and let her crawl off the end. So as scared rotate, we're gonna go much faster. Sorry, Lily, you go crazy. Crazy nuts. Oh, you're silly. Now, don't squeeze your tail, but just let it pass over you, because it's just getting through. Look at her, just a little pretty tip. I don't know, Oh, there. So when you're coming over with the tail, just with the tail. So you just have to be conscious of what part of the tail you're on. It's over your wrist, just like, okay.
Yeah.
Lily, you're making a mess.
Oh.
Nikki, we just, it's because you put me in that's what we have to get her. Hold it up for you. Hey, where's the hug, you guys? So you see, so I'm gonna actually just give Nikki some cover. So that if she starts coming towards her, I can redirect her. Does that make sense? So this is not a one-person snake, right? You should never be mucking around in an enclosure with a snake that's made by yourself. You should always have somebody that's watching their body and legs while the other person works. Dump that back out. She did that and she fits, so she picks it up with her in it.
Hold on, let's dump some of this out.
And just leave it there for a minute and let it suck it out. Okay. So it's reasonable. Okay. Oh, guess we're taking a big drink of water right now. That's terrible timing, lady. So when they drink a bunch of water right before you handle it, a lot of times it'll come back up. So don't freak out if she slobbers all over you. She's looking at how much she's drinking.
Really?
That's rude.
How much water do we usually drink when we
They don't drink very often, but they're supposed to be back for like guzzle. So let me stop. Stop. Get that. Kiss her. Quit. No, not you. So this girl is actually a little bit new to us. She's never gone on a trip. So I don't actually know what she's Yeah. So this girl does tend to be real moody. So in this case, I'm actually keeping the door closed. I'm gonna touch right to her face and get her to calm down. There you go. See if she backed up. She's showing off for you really good. And then so see how she's being real pushy, so I'm pushing back. Okay. And so I'm asking her to sort of disengage and like back off. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yeah.
See, now she's starting to understand. She's like, oh, okay, fine. And so I'm being as pushy as she's being. Do you think her body language is getting better? Yeah, I think so too. Okay. So I'm still going to sort of just stay in the way. And I'm going to pet her. You can come out. And I'm going to give her our worker today. So she listened to me so well, now she's not going to come out. Sorry, I know I was rude. Come on, Mama. Can you tell her? What here? Oh, there's the whole table.
There's that girl.
You want to come out? Yeah, you thinking about it?
That was yesterday. She's late.
Oh. This is the one we usually sit on the floor with. So come on over. Super, super good. Oh. I'm so we are second year. Just a little one. Okay. What is it? Anybody want a giant station? I don't know what to ask.
Yeah, do you want it?
So you see what she's doing is taking actually the body language of her, that we're talking about in the area specialist. No, yeah, she's coming to see me, see if she's backing up. You see how she's eating? That one, like this is wrong. But it's definitely like the inch.
Walking up and I was like,
That's you, super.
that because who's coming to see me?
Just go back to your house.
And more than walk.
Eve two! Up! There you go.
They're using a.
So, do you see how little these two are moving? Like, you guys haven't moved at all.
Yeah.
They're very different personalities, right? So the birds tend to just sit and not move very much.
He couldn't get into it. There was.
Everybody, take a couple steps backwards. Yeah, there you go.
So we just moved him up.
And you can just like, oh, she's gonna sit. That's better. Come this way.
He's like some water and then paper towels, so he has like a little cloth and he has shut off.
So when I'm training and handling these guys, I sort of try to keep up with what they are wanting to do and just excite them rather than you guys be tired, just sit down on the floor.
Yeah, she's back up. She got it. Girl. The flannel does not have smooth cover. Does not have smooth cover. Hello there. Hey, what are you
So which type of snake is your favorite? The birds? They're pretty cool. The birds are my favorite. Oh, is there? Right. Three ticks are just annoying.
Yeah, she's
You want to circle?
You can see kind of in my behavior too, like I'm not worried about these guys at all. Right? You can see the difference.
Sometimes when you go straight for people's face while they're supporting your body, that can be slightly startled. Just fun. human body language that we could talk about too. Well, it's not her job too. How big is the brain?
That way. Small brain. Small brain.
Smooth brain.
You can hop in here.
She's small.
This week?
So 2 years ago, actually, it tore my shoulder off. Bring it back.
I would love to be able to.
Oh, really? I appreciate you.
No, you're good. I just want to sensation about. Because it is like to be alive in the interview.
You said it's cute.
That's like every video, it's just natural selection.
Like, they don't know that.
Well, I think.
You guys should really just sit down with her. She'll sit with us.
Yeah, I'll look up to me.
Miracle, will you steer her back to the group if they goes off?
Bye-bye.
Okay, I'll do her. So now the things that I'm trying to get into those we don't want her to go this way. So just like, don't let her go. No, so you have to turn it away. When she goes, no. When she goes back that way. Oh, she says, oh, I just sat down. Too bad.
Oh, I love her face. I like her.
I know, but you know what kind of pictures.
That was on you. Now when she disengages, she's going where you want her to, so don't keep, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now do it again, because we don't want her to go this way. So just keep going. Does that make sense? Because if you don't let up on the pressure, this one might be, this one just stays in the stage.
She's certainly knows out there.
Here.
They aren't cute, but they are. I heard they were saying about, like,
I need to stay right
I mean,
here.
I don't like some of the new stuff, but they have to, they're very inbred.
Oh.
I can't help it.
How did you get into big snakes? As a bee?
There's nowhere for these guys to go. I consult all of them.
Wow.
Like people desperately need help with them, so I just chose the language.
Yeah.
So, and then the hand thing I was talking about is like, just make it so like a wall. You don't want her to go this way. Are you a car person? Don't push, just make it a stop. Does that make sense? See, then she'll learn to go the other direction. But if you keep pushing, she doesn't understand it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So just like,
They learn when you stop the pressure. Because you have to stop it when you comply. So if she stops going that way, don't keep pushing.
No, I'm
Does
sure.
that make sense? So I'm not chasing her, I'm asking her to stop going this way.
If my commute was 5
See how now she's already, see that you change? Well, now, oh, just push it really hard.
oh, it feels good.
She's good. She just shed on her right here, so she probably has like a little piece of metal or something. But you see how she's already not going this way as much, just in that amount of time? It's like, oh, I guess, she's trying to sneak out of it. She's around, she doesn't learn to make a choice to think about like, now keep track of how much you have from them, because so she's done. And you have your car. You have too much. She, I think, was left over from the owner's cousin's house or something. Like, moved and hatchling. Kiska was 2010.
Oh.
So the size, does that make sense what I'm saying? The size isn't really helpful for age. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. And so why do you think she's so much bigger
You really
about 5 years younger?
whether that, I mean, you kind of
Better return.
make, I guess, if they're
Yeah, versus Kiska was raised by somebody that knew more about snakes. So Kiska's way
but
older.
their growth rate depends so much on how warm they are, what they're being fed.
Well, I get away with
I
that.
went over
If
there
you
with
set that line up,
fed.
stand your ground, don't push. Does that make sense?
When we picked her up,
If you don't want her to go this way, don't let her sneak around. She's like, dang it, I'm scared.
She was on the edge of morbidly obese.
You know, she's trying to decide, how do you, if I'm serious?
You can look at their masseter muscles.
And I don't care if she goes up, that's okay, I just don't want her to go that way.
So when you're doing, conditions course on these guys, are you doing muscle conditions?
I actually have a body conditions score sheet for that.
I was gonna ask.
Oh, I was just looking for my phone, it's right there, I was like, where's my phone?
If you get the factory intake.
I have you have to, if you go on our website and search body condition score, you'll find it, it's a PDF, like brochure basically, that talks, got such an average. It has to do basically like, how much hair is there in the neck, and then like their back shape, and then if you look at her, with her belly scales. Hey, you guys, can you show us Kiska's belly scales really quick? We're talking about body condition score.
We were too.
Oh, you were?
That's how it came off.
Oh. Okay, so see how narrow her belly scales look for her back? Look at how much bigger Kiska's look. Does that make sense? So Etna has a whole bunch of fat on both sides, versus Kiska is a healthy my fault. Here, catch her. Sorry.
Compared to her, she's got all this layer of fat.
So Kiska's
She's doing the same thing that.
Kiska's a 5 out of 9. She's perfect. This lady was a 9 out of 9. We got her several years ago. She's now probably like a 7.
Oh, okay. Are there any, like, when you dive,
So it takes a long time.
things to be concerned about with a
Well, we like have to make them come out to exercise.
Yeah.
We're gonna go a little charge. Even if this was Lilith, we would have done it in 6 months.
You can.
So if firms are real slow, this is
And just because the, so right now it's already too cold for them, so that double swims.
I have.
yes and no. So the colder they get, the less they're gonna move.
So.
However, there is that speed difference. So firms are always slower. Versus retics are always faster. Yeah. And they're in the same area, so they're found in the same record. So that doesn't have to do with it, right?
and that change.
Doesn't matter.
Like,
How often were you like putting that same? Do you have to like use it once an hour and then like go back to like your body?
It is, but there's species differences.
Quite that complex.
Same answer. Does that make sense?
Yes, so long story short, I asked the physiology professor this question earlier this year, and so I feel
So yes, it's both scenarios, right? So if they are cold, they can't function. So that slows down. If you heat them up, that'll give them a process fast. That's why you heat them up for healing too. Same idea, is like you're raising their metabolic rate, not just for food, but for healing, producing new tissue. But certain species are faster than others. So like the blood, I hope she's going to use that.
But there are some that are like, I can't, that's a guinea pig.
Oh, on you!
Don't touch me.
So she's just like, this is an injury plan.
She's like,
not. We stop that.
More like.
So you can train them,
And then you're gonna.
like, like training, like, specific behavior, it doesn't think you're
You know, like, I do teach them like where to go and like how to sit on
or
it.
like for like any like procedure for like purposes, because in the zoos that we have some over basically, we actually have them pull their house.
Yeah, they're not really that.
Yeah.
Really, all the
Yeah.
I mean, they're smart, but they don't just like comply. I could do a one round on her right now without even.
I was just it just works.
No, because
Yeah.
I use it on everything.
No, it's.
we think about how many decisions and like how much beginners are involved.
Is that it?
Because
It doesn't.
it's not really a virtual memory.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's safe. Make sure
You're
it's
serious.
sensitive to weird antibiotics.
Dang it.
The silver in it acts a lot like copper in the blood.
Oh.
So kids is a winner over there for her show, right? Isn't she great? That's awesome. This is the first one she's going to.
No, I guess you didn't have her back then.
So they're gonna get colder and colder and colder on the concrete, so they're gonna get sour and sour.
Right.
There you go.
These things are
Yeah.
savvy. Even if actually they're not perform enough to really function. Like,
It's more about
assembly, they're not gonna. But they can. I can't even see.
Sarah,
What?
how big a,
That's how nice it was.
brown Skiska take?
Kiska? Oh, she can eat, like, oh, she can eat rats. She eats rabbits.
That's what I said.
She probably eat a 5-pounder. That's big. I mean, think about like a cat, good sized cat. Oh, you're such a good sleep. Sorry. It's not the end of them. Yes, it's hard to see on the different body shapes a little bit, like the same way. I mean, when I get to it, I use worms because they're so bulky, it's very slow. And the sheep has photos of a 3, 5, 7, also like, you can actually see it.
I think it's just a big.
Yeah, it's.
Yep, well, the other day. Yeah, here's the thing though, right? Isn't that cool? You would never see that they were that smart or interactive, but they really are. She's like, oh, what's that guy who's over there? What kind of is
It's about the.
He's back, so she packed him away. Come on, you wanna go back? One of my favorite things is just be like, oh, so cool. I mean, like, feel that. Like, oh my gosh, what an amazing animal, right? And then she'll like kick me. Oh, there you go. Oh, that's so cool. Isn't that neat? And then like feel where her vertebrae, like the dorsal vertebrae, and then like feel her ribs and go squish. So you gotta push her pretty hard. You feel them now? She's in bed.